Growth and decay rates are percentages. Just as if you were at the bank, your money grows at a particular rate or a percentage. So when we look at rates, we want to think of them as percentages. And when we have growth, the percentage is positive, and when we have decay, this rate or percentage is negative. It's decreasing. Now we have a new word called growth factor and decay factor. They are different. The rate is what I'm growing by. The factor is my multiplier. That's what the word factor means. It means to multiply. So we're going to multiply by 1 plus the growth rate. For instance, if my money was growing at a rate of 4%, my bank account just wouldn't have that interest. It would have all of the money I started with plus my rate. So I want to keep all the money I have in there, or 100% of that money, plus the rate that I'm growing by, which is 104%, or 1 4/100ths. And there would not be a percent on the end of that as soon as I convert it from a percent into a decimal. So the one that we have in this situation is saying keep the initial and add to it its new growth. So the decay factor is going to again be the multiplier, and this is 1 plus the decay rate. Well, if I have a rate that's negative, that means 1 minus that rate is going to put that number, A, less than 1 but greater than 0. So both of these involve a 1, saying keep that 100% of the original amount. 1 is a 100%. So let's go ahead and take a look at this table. We're going to be looking at population in year. It's exponential. And in my first table, it looks like my population is increasing. So we're pretty sure that we have growth. It does not look to be linear, because in the first situation it went up by 50. In the second situation it went up by 52. So it's not the same amount added every time. So what we're going to do is find our growth rate and our growth factor. To find the factor, if you recall, it's the ratio of consecutive terms. So the ratio would be 1,300 to 1,250, and you can see that number is bigger than 1. If we want to find it on a calculator, all we need to do is some division, and so I'm going to take 1,300 and divide it by 1,250, and I get a value of 1.04. The one says keep all the 1,250 people and then increase it by 4%. So my growth rate is that 4%, which converted as a decimal is 0.004. In the second situation, my population is declining or decreasing. So it looks like that this is going to have a decay involved. Again, I can take consecutive terms. So we might want to take these two. It really doesn't matter. 485 divided by 525. Plugging that in my calculator. 485 divided by 525 gives me a value of 0.92. We're going to round that, or approximately 92%. So in this case, I was keeping 1.04, or 104%. I was growing. In this case, I'm only keeping 92%. So I am losing 8%. I'm losing 8%. I'm decaying by 8%. And I can see its decay from one year to the next. I am declining or decreasing. So if you're just given a general situation here and you want to find the growth factor, the growth factor is my multiplier. So it's 2, which is 200%. So if I want my growth rate, what I need to do is there's a difference of 1. or 100%. So in this case, my growth rate is 100%. It means if I'm in the room, I'm going to grow 100% of myself. So one of me is going to walk in and I stay in, so my multiplier is 2. For instance, again, if I have 5 people in the room and we're growing by 100%, each of those 5 people get a new person. Now I'm up to 10. I doubled. So notice my factor says I'm doubling or multiplying by 2. In the next case, I'm multiplying by 3, or 300%, means I'm not doubling, I'm tripling. So my growth rate is 2 or 200%. It's off by 1 again. So if there was 5 people and each one doubled, you would be tripling. You'd have 15 people. The 5 you started with plus the 2 additional for every one you had. In the next scenario, your growth factor is 1.7. It's my multiplier, which is 170%. So my rate then is 70%. It's a difference of 1. When I'm decaying, my decay factor is my multiplier. So my multiplier is 8 or 80%, 0.8. It's less than 1. So I'm keeping 80%. If I multiply 100 by 80%, I have 80. So how many did I lose? I lost 20%. I lost 20%. There's a difference of 1. So if I have 80% and I'm taking off that 1 or 100%, there is my rate. My factor in the next decay is 0.93, which you can think of as 93%. So that's I'm factoring 93%. I keep 93%, so that means I'm losing 7%. And in the last case, I have 75% remaining, so I'm losing 25%. And again, you can convert these to decimals, but there's a difference of 1. When it's a growth, I'm adding 1. It's bigger than 1. And when I have decay, my rate is negative, so my factor becomes less than 1.